Anything mama wear my buy that, no I come borrow girl clothes. I mean I see the boy if he call me up, me name go down the road. I'm not easy to get, and if a boy get me, I go easy to let. Promise, me no see the gang if you run up on my panic. Now watch your pretty face, heavy up me like a bunny. You don't see me exclusive, and in the game I play me, I feel we come in a take closes. Swear that I the truth.
Welcome back to another Black Beauty video. If you didn't know, now you know. It's your girl Onika coming back to you again with another military edition video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that post notification bell, and make sure you follow me on Instagram, make sure you follow me on TikTok, and make sure you comment below if you like the video or not, any questions that you have. So as you guys can see from the title below, I'm going to be discussing the transition from basic to AIT. So, you know, you graduate basic, and depending on where your AIT is, you have the option to drive with your family in a POV, or you have the option to do government travel where the Army takes you to your AIT. Like I said, depending where your AIT is, because I know like a lot of my battles, like they were in Fort Jackson, and because their AIT was like at Fort Sam and stuff like that, they were not given the option to do a POV or do anything with their family because it's across the Mississippi or something like that. It's too far. So they were not given the option, so they had to fly. So for me, my experience was I was, my AIT, because I'm a 42 Alpha, was at Fort Jackson. So I didn't have to go anywhere. So for people like, I would say 92 Yankee, that's at Fort Lee, but now Fort Gregg, they were given the option to do POV. So you graduate from basic, you have your family day, and then you have your graduation day. Family day, you can't really leave, but your graduation day, you can go off post and stuff like that. If you are doing POV, once you graduate, you can leave with your family and you don't have to return back to your basic. Basically, your next point of duty is at AIT. So, you leave with your family, and then basically it's just traveling to your next duty station. So if you're leaving from Fort Jackson, you're traveling to Fort Gregg Adams, and that's basically like 5-6 hours drive. So I think they give you like 2 days you have graduation day, and then you have the day after you have to reach to Fort Gregg. So guys, I think that's just a little bit of information that I want to share with guys, because a lot of times, like depending on your AIT and depending on like where you're gonna be stationed for AIT, a lot of people be like, oh, can I go home with my family, la 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 la, and it depends on your AIT. So I know for a lot of Fort Gregg people, they were able to spend the weekend with their family, because normally you graduation is on the Thursday, so you have to arrive by the Friday. So they give Friday, Saturday, and then you have to come back Sunday. And that was a similar situation when I arrived at AIT in Fort Jackson. So they came to pick me up from basic because it was on the same duty station. They picked me up, and then the first sergeant was like, you know, we are allowed to spend the weekends with our family. So I spent Thursday, which was basic training graduation day, and then I had to return that night because I was GOV basically because they were coming to pick me up. I returned that night, and then my AIT drill sergeants picked me up that Friday morning by like 1200 to 1300 in the afternoon. We were able to go home with our families, and then we had to come back Sunday by 1800. So I think the transition it's a little bit easier if you're doing GOV, if you don't really know where you're going, or your family doesn't drive that well, or if you guys don't take directions that well. It's a little bit easier. Now, you know, the only negative side to taking the Army is right after graduation, after you guys get to leave post, or if you guys like decide to stay on post, you guys have to return back to your drill sergeants. And that's the part that sucks about it. You don't get to spend at least 24 to 48 hours with your family. For me, you know, like I said, I got the weekend, but the main thing that I want to talk about is the transition. Now, when I went to AIT, I didn't know that AIT wasn't filled with drill sergeants back then, but because of certain situations and because of certain trainees, AIT now has drill sergeants. So honestly, I think that depending on where you are, AIT can be challenging or AIT can be really fun. Now, for me, at first it was really strict, you know, because they want to make sure you still have your military bearing, you still have discipline when you're actually coming from basic. So that transition, it was like basically being in basic, you know, you get smoked, you know, they assert their dominance very early, very quick. They basically tell you who's boss, and that's not going to change, right? So you just be prepared for you to get smoked. Just be prepared for you to do some running. Just be prepared for you to do some push-ups and stuff like that. But honestly, as you progress, it's not as bad as basic. You don't do as much physical demanding training as basic, of course, because it's all focused on your MOS. Now, for me, I think that just being in Fort Jackson, I was still in the mindset that I was still at basic just because I was at the same place. I think that as you develop and as you go through, you get to realize there are some differences. Like in basic, you're in a bay with like 50 other girls, but in AIT, you're in a room with maybe 1 to 2 other females, or for males, you're in a room with 1 to 2 other males. So you get a little bit more of your alone time. You do still have fire guard, but at the end of the day, fire guard probably is not as often as it was in basic. And you don't have like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 man fire guard. It's not like that. Like I never had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 man fire guard. I only had 1 person fire guard for each hour when I was in AIT. And honestly, you do your day, you do your due diligence throughout the day, you do what you need to do. And my AIT and my experience was when it, you know, was personal time, you had your phone, and when you went to bed, it was, you know, it's your choice if you want to stay up on that technology or you want to get some sleep, because you do get up at 05. So it's your choice. But then again, you do still have your technology. Like I have my laptop, which I didn't really use that often. I was just using my phone and stuff like that. But I would recommend an iPad just in case your phone gets taken. Because there was one point our phone got taken because somebody brought their phone to the schoolhouse when they wasn't supposed to, and all our phones got taken, and I didn't have any other like electronic, and I didn't have Wi-Fi because I wasn't gonna buy that Wi-Fi. Like I'm super cheap, y'all. That Wi-Fi was expensive. I don't care. Like I wasn't gonna buy it. So my laptop, my MacBook couldn't work without my phone because I used to use my hotspot on my phone. So I was like, oh my gosh, I should have had an iPad that had like cellular, like signal. So I was like, ooh, or I should have had a second phone or something, but whatever. But so far, you know, you get smoked, you do everything. You don't get as much MREs as you would get in basic and AIT. Like you do get the DFAC for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it's only like really like different situations that you would get like MREs, like if you're going to sick call, you're gonna miss breakfast chow, or like if there's training to do or like CIF to go get, like they have to feed you, so they're gonna give you like MREs. But for me, I feel like the biggest change is that you have a little bit, don't let it go to your head, just a little bit of more freedom than you would have in basic. Like you get to talk more with your battle buddies, you get a little bit more free time, you get a little bit more downtime, you are able to talk to your family more, you're able to relax a little bit, focus on your MOS and focus on the job that you're going to be doing in the future. I feel like for me, it was very like less stress, but because of that freedom, I was ready to go home. I was over it. I felt like I wanted to move on. I wanted to like get out of the space where I was just completely controlled by someone else. And I felt like I just wanted to be back home, me, myself again. And I had to realize like I'm no longer that person. I'm now someone else, and I've now changed and I've now developed, especially with the line of work that I do. So I think that the transition to mentally grasp yourself and know that you're no longer who you used to be, you're now someone different. And now, because you're not in basic, you don't have your phone and you don't have those choices or those temptations that you would have if you would have your phone, if you would have your friends, or you would talk to your friends. Now you do have that temptation. You do have social media. You do have, you know, your friends from back home to talk to. So you're going to see them living their best life, going out to the club, going out to the movies, having that freedom. And it does put a mental strain. Like I've seen a lot of people get depressed because they miss back home even more than they would have in basic. You don't miss what you don't know. You know what I'm saying? So I think that the most important thing to focus on is why you joined, what type of success you want for yourself, and why you chose this journey. And that's the biggest transition that I've seen in when a lot of people and myself go to AIT. It's not even just about the military, it's about who you are as an individual. Like seeing your friends from back home, seeing your family go off and live their life, and you're kind of like in a standstill position because you can't visit them because of certain circumstances. Like you can't go back to who you were. And sometimes it's like a rude awakening, and you have to really like push yourself to be like, listen, I joined for a reason, I'm gonna do this. Just like how you had that basic, like that mental capacity to say, I'm gonna continue this journey. And I'm happy to tell you guys that we've reached the end of this video. If you like the video that I put out today, please comment below what you think. Comment a heart or a smiley face, or just connect with me so I can connect back with you. Make sure you turn on your post notifications. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like, and make sure you comment. Make sure you follow me over on TikTok, and make sure you follow me over on Instagram. Bye.